In this video, I want to discuss and motivate the features you need in an IDE. It might not be a complete list, but it's a list I collected, and I want to go through the list one by one. And whenever you think of using, whenever you're starting out with an IDE, make sure you have these features, or if you can go without them, of course, it's also fine, or with one of them, or but in general, it's good to have those, and I will explain the feature one by one. So also your use case is going from one IDE to another. For example, if you go to Emacs or NeoVim and you come from IntelliJ or VS Code, or then it's always good to check that you have these features, especially if they are maybe not so easy to configure. So you don't end up coding, and within your coding you need to find out how this feature works. So let us start and let's see. So first feature is of course an editor. We can start writing here something in, okay, that's tic-tac-toe, we don't need that. So we start here with hello world, and we will save it, and then we will use this, and we see that the program works. So we execute the program and it says hello world, and that's the first feature we need an editor to write our code in. That's definitely obligatory. Next feature which is really important to have is autosave, because if you don't autosave you have to do it manually, like I did it just a while ago, so it's needed. Next feature which you can already see here is syntax highlighting. You see that the keyword of the print function is blue and the literal is green, and you want these categories of the language or these tokens to have some kind of be highlighted by colors, so you can have it easier to read the code. Next feature is code completion. This is for function. So when you press first three letters, you want some options here to see in the pop-up, and also for going through models, or if you are in an object-oriented language, you want to browse through the methods of the class. That way, by by writing the object, and then after the dot you want the methods to be suggested and to be able to browse through them. So this feature, code completion, is very neat, very important, saves a lot of time, and is very good to have. Next feature, the terminal inside the IDE. It's nice. You see I have it open here, but yeah, it's definitely, you need it for executing the code mostly, or for testing purposes, or even if you want some kind of commands to do in between. It's a terminal, I would say it is a must. The next feature I have on the list is browse on the function. That means if I, for example, press CTRL, which is mostly the case in IDEs, and I press on the print function, I will go to the source code of the print function. And I want this also for my own functions. So this is for understanding the code better, to see what the function actually does if I do not understand exactly what it does and I want to browse the code like a book. I definitely need to browse through the functions. Next is shortcuts for editing. I would always recommend the Vim shortcuts in every IDE. But of course that comes down to taste, but they're really neat. I think they are superior to any shortcuts and I can recommend them. But in any case, there might be some IDEs that don't even have plugins for shortcuts. Shortcuts will make you more productive, much more productive. Next one is line numbers. If I mess up the code, like you can see here, and I will execute the code, you see that the line number is always given by the interpreter or compiler, and it tells you where the problem is, and that's also a must-have. You need the line numbers of your code. So next feature is a file explorer. Also going through your files inside your code base is totally needed most of the time. Maybe some people in Vim or so don't use it. At least they will use it implicit, but there are plugins in Vim, in Emacs, and of course in IntelliJ and VS Code. They are standard. But in any case, you want this feature because it gives you a great overview over your code base. The next thing is to find the references of functions. So when let's motivate it a bit. So when I write a function, output, and then I will call the function output. Then I want to see where output is used. I want to know if I change this function that in any context this function will work as well. So that is also a very important feature to have. So the next thing is automated testing. You want some kind of test button where you can where you can run your tests in after you have changed something. And yeah, this is in Python. You have, of course, PyTest, and for PyTest there are also plugins in VS Code, for example. Or if there isn't, you can just do it in the terminal, but it's, I think, more neat to have it inside the IDE. Debugging capabilities is very important to have in the IDE. Without it, you are basically almost unable to solve problems that are not easy to see right away, especially with a big code base. And in newer times, you also want to have some kind of AI interface to automate coding as much as you can, so you are more productive. The next thing is a REPL, so it's like a terminal, but it's more like here I have it open on the left side, Jupyter Lab. You want your code to be able to be evaluated, and that is very important too. So you want your code or snippets of your code to test. That's everything. Last two feature is searching in functions, undo capability, and search. Last one search in the code base for symbols.